Okay, I'm Geoff Pegman. I run a small robotics company in Manchester, UK. We're an R&D company. We develop robotic solutions for other companies, and it's based on 25 years of doing that I want to give you a glimpse of the future. So I'm going to tell you a story. It's 2025, Horizon 2030 midterm review, nearly complete, and all the papers are full of speculation about the London independence referendum. Boris, by the way, is all for leaving. Okay, and by the way, don't get confused by this picture behind me. Robots in the future, they're going to come in all shapes and sizes. Some of them you won't even call robots. However, robot technology will be as pervasive in manufacturing industry as these robots are in the automotive industry right now. And I'm only going to mention Industry 4.0 once. That was it. But all the ideas are actually quite consistent with that. So Valentina, she works in the food industry. Actually, she works for a home delivery supermarket. They don't have any presence on the high street, but they do have dark stores in most of the big cities in the UK, and they've recently opened up in Spain. Valentina trained as a chef, and she now works as the head chef. But this is a home delivery company. Well, over 10 years ago, they were one of the first companies to use robots to start fulfilling their customer orders by packing the orders up into the crates. They could do everything at that point apart from some of the individual food items, you know, the bananas, the avocados, the melons. Then about 8 years ago, helped by a little robotics company up in Manchester, they actually cracked that one as well. And things changed about 5 years ago. They actually decided to get into the individualized meals, cook at home. So these are the things where an individual meal, all the items for that recipe, all weighed out and delivered to the customers' homes for them to cook at home. Okay, so other people have been doing that. But with their robotics, with their data analytics, with their predictive ordering, and with their short delivery times, they were able to do a large range of meals, and they were able to do next-day delivery. In fact, by now, they're doing same-day delivery. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Hey, this isn't a manufacturing company. This is a logistics company. Well, that changed 2 years ago, because 2 years ago, they decided to get into the specialized gourmet meals, restaurant quality, chilled, ready meals. So individualized meals, put in your microwave, and you've got gourmet quality. They looked at all the suppliers, none of them could deliver this. So they set up a production line. And now Valentina's job has changed an awful lot, because now she's not just in charge of making the recipes, but she works with the head of food production in terms of turning those recipes into product. In fact, Valentina actually programs some of the robots. Not that she's poring over lines of code, because these robots, they're task-based. So the programming system works on tasks. She actually sits at a graphical user interface, and for simple things like pizzas, she simply drags the food components for the particular pizza that she wants, just as if she was actually putting them on a pizza in the order that she wanted to. And then the robots work with vision systems to actually assemble that with no programming involved. Of course, it's not quite as simple when you come to the cooked meals. For that, the food company has actually installed a food factory in the pipe. This is an idea that's been around for quite a while, but it's a small 1 meter by 1 meter rectangular section. Most of the modules, it's a modular system. Robots are inside it. Most of the modules are actually in series. Some of them are in parallel. And most of these modules are kept at 4 degrees C. That really extends the food life, but because you're only doing it inside a small module, it actually doesn't cost that much. It's very energy efficient. The ones that you don't, obviously, are the cooking modules and the blast chiller. So programming these is a little bit more complex, but still, Valentina's very happy because she works on a graphical user interface and she specifies pretty much as if she would writing a recipe, except now what she's doing is she's specifying procedures and some times. And those procedures turn into skills that the robots actually have to perform. But that's okay as well, because these days robots aren't sold the way they were in the old days. Robots are sold as platforms with downloadable skills. Well, I say downloadable. Actually, apart from the low-level control, most of the control is actually in the cloud, so they're not downloaded at all. So when Valentina had to come up with a new recipe for pancakes, she actually found that even tossing a pancake was a skill that was actually there and available. Mind you, that's partly because when Superfoods, which is just the name of the company, when they actually installed their robots, they didn't use one of the big suppliers, they used a small supplier. But one of the big advantages there was they actually had a crowdsourced skill store, which new skills becoming available every day. So the system then works from the recipes that Valentina puts together and builds the food product. The product is actually put together in batches, but sometimes those batches can be very, very small, individual, and they're put into individual packs that are made from a fully recyclable plastic sealed cardboard and sealed with a film with a laser system that actually seals, cuts, and ensures that that is a perfectly sealed pack, no wastage. Valentina's got so good at this that she actually boasts to her friend, Lindsay, that she's actually a better programmer of robots than Lindsay is. And Lindsay was trained as an automation engineer. Mind you, she doesn't do much of that these days because she's production manager. She used to work at Ford, but she's actually moved to a new company, BioDrive in Munich. BioDrive, they're one of these new startups in electric cars. They started with some new battery technology based on some really new enzymes, catalysts that came out of synthetic biology, but nobody understands that except for the CTO. What they do know is that their cars go further and go quicker. However, BioDrive, they didn't want to do the same thing as the rest of the car companies were doing at the minute. They didn't want to sell transport as a service. What they wanted to do was to actually sell to individuals who wanted to own cars, who really wanted and loved driving cars. And that's where the idea of guaranteed unique came up. Guaranteed unique, if you buy a car from BioDrive, not only is this car, do they promise that this car has never been sold to anybody before, but they'll never sell that to anybody else again. And they do this with a series of options. They thought, when they came up with the idea, they could just put some different electronics in, some different functions. But actually what they found with their research was the customers actually wanted things that were physically different, things that they could see for the 90% of the time where the car was not been driven, when it was sitting on their drive, where the neighbours could see it. So this meant a series of options, and they have about 30, most of which have 3 different choices. Some of them are actually personalised as well, if you want to go that far. And doing that means that actually standard production techniques don't work all that well. So after the basic drivetrain and platform is built, what they do is they put together flexible teams. And these teams consist of a team supervisor and a set of robots, mobile robots. Some of those robots stay with that car production, that individual car production. Others move between different ones. Most of them, except the inspection robots, actually have manipulators on them, and they all do different tasks. Some of these are cobots. They work with the supervisor in doing some of the difficult tasks. And one of the things that Lindsay has been really, really pleased about is that she's been able to draw on a really big pool of people to do this. In fact, she's got a very experienced team of supervisors. This is largely because the robots themselves can do the precise tasks, they can do the heavy lifting tasks. So actually some of the team supervisors are actually well into their 70s. So the robots work on the actual production, but they're not just doing that, they're actually monitoring their own performance as well. So they'll actually detect when they need to actually be maintained, and they'll report for maintenance if necessary. However, one of the really, really good ideas that BioDrive came up with was actually outsourcing some of the design. And in fact, one of the most popular design teams is a husband and wife team based in London. They're actually recent graduates from the London Design School. And they work within the design parameters of the online BioDrive design system, and they work with the materials from the suppliers. But that's quite a wide range of suppliers. And they do interiors, so they do individualized interiors. And once one of their interior designs has been accepted within an order, the online system configures the supply chain. It confirms the orders, the order times, and it tells the MRP what the configuration of the build team is. So you get the general idea. This is a highly flexible, highly interactive system. Okay, so the jobs that Valentina and Lindsay are going to be doing in 10 years' time may not be quite the ones I've just described. However, what I can say is that their lives, their job choices are really going to be changed by connected robots. Connected robots are not just going to be the arms and legs of IoT. Connected robots are going to change business models. They're going to disrupt the business models of manufacturing industry. Manufacturing industry practices are going to change. Manufacturing as a service will become the norm. And basically, European manufacturers have to start getting ready for that. Thank you very much.